We are delighted to welcome in our friend Tom Silverstein. He with the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel does a great job covering the Green Bay Packers. Longtime guy. Tom, I don't know that I ever thought I'd see this day, but the Bears are actually hosting a playoff game, and lo and behold, it's against the Packers. How are you doing this morning?
Oh, just great. Let's play ball. I'm sick of all the rhetoric.
There's been a lot of it, and from the Packers side, not so much from the Bears side, but Tom, I think we're describing locally a level of anxiety from the fan base. Just curious, how much confidence exists in Green Bay about this one tomorrow night?
I think there's a cloud of confidence that runs through their locker room, but I don't know how substantive it is. I think it's they feel like they're still a good team, but I don't think they know for sure until they prove it. Until they beat a team like the Bears, on their home field. So I think they feel like they're capable of a Super Bowl run, but they also have this self-doubt because they've just had such an up and down season. They haven't done anything really special this season, except maybe sweep Detroit, but that's it,
Yeah, I think that just looking at the trade they made for Micah Parsons and looking at what that seemed to mean to that organization, and then obviously the first meeting with the Bears, it felt like, okay, they're going to win the North. It is just an absolute going to happen. And then he gets injured, and it was like the wind came out of the sails. It was crazy. And I get it, when Jordan Love goes down, there's going to be problems. We talked about Evan Williams, Zach Tom. They've had a lot of injuries, but it felt like this aura of invincibility left with Micah Parsons. And that was the move to win the Super Bowl, and lo and behold, the guy's gone.
Yeah, it changed. It changed a lot. It changed their play style because, he came. Even I was surprised. I mean, he came sort of on a mission, and to watch him play down after down as hard as he did, it put everybody else on notice that they got to play up to that standard, and they were playing as hard as I've seen a defense play. And then he got hurt, and you're right, it was like a big bubble just popped. And I think they've been trying to regain that type of feeling, but they wind up getting just absolutely drilled by Baltimore, and that kind of burst the bubble too. They were starting to play a little better, and so I'm not sure they know where they're at, and I'm not sure anybody does really. I think this is really where we find out what kind of team they are.
Tom, to me, it's been surprising this week that part of the conversation has involved the contract status of Matt LaFleur with 1 year remaining after this season, and how this game, if the Packers lose it and he finishes the season on a 5-game losing streak, he could find himself in some contractual limbo because you don't know the commitment level with Ed Policy, Brian Gutekunst, his contract situation as well. In your mind, knowing this team as well as you do, what is the jeopardy that he faces if they lose? And is this a game where he is coaching for his job?
Well, I think you're always coaching for your job, no matter what your status. But I think the only way they sour on him is if this is just an absolute flop.
Right.
I do think, though, that there is some mechanics here that complicate it because, there's a standard for what a coach of his, tenure deserves. And the Packers might not want to commit as long as he wants them to commit. And so there's going to be a negotiation. And if they can't reach, the financial number they want, then all of a sudden it turns into, okay, what do you do? So he won't take the 3-year deal we have on the table or won't take the 2 years we're offering. What do we do? And that's where it becomes really interesting. So he has some leverage in it. They definitely don't want to go in with him as a lame duck coach. That's just the worst situation ever. And so they have to get it resolved after this. If he wins, if they win this game, then I think they'll probably fall in line and give him the 3-year extension at, a 12 to 15 million per year. But if it's a total collapse, then it gets interesting.
You're listening to Mully and Haugh on the Score. Shout out to our viewers on CHSN as well. And we are talking to our friend Tom Silverstein with the Milwaukee Journal Sentinel. He joins us on the Plumbers 911 hotline. Plumbing emergency call 1-833-PLUM-911. Local 130 plumbers get the job done right the first time. And Tom, I'm just wondering, Jeff Hafley's name has come up as a head coach, and I read that he has 3 interviews scheduled for next week, that Atlanta and I believe Arizona and Tennessee are all interested in him, which makes sense. He's done a great job with the defense over the last couple of years and certainly has head coaching experience in college. He said that he's vowed basically to keep all his attention on the Bears, and he actually pounded the podium to say he will be back talking next week. So that's all good. I don't know how it doesn't distract you a little bit that you got a chance at a head coaching job, but maybe
I don't either.
Yeah.
I was just talking about that with someone. If you got 4 interviews the week of a game, now if they lose, then all his attention, he could turn all his attention there. I mean, he can't interview till next week. So, right. I think I think it's easier to keep your attention this week. I think you go into, if Packers are still alive and you go into next week and he's got 4 interviews, I mean, I would also throw Miami in there because they're probably going to hire the Packers vice president of player personnel as their GM, John Eric Sullivan. He's a leading candidate to be hired there. And he's going to want, he's going to interview Hafley. And in fact, who knows how the LaFleur thing goes? That could be another landing spot if, things don't work out with the Packers for LaFleur. So, I think the whole thing is really kind of screwed up, the whole process, because it just puts a lot of pressure on a lot of different people to have to both juggle their long-term careers and the game they got coming up.
So, Tom, looking at tomorrow night's game, specifically at the 2 guys that the Packers get back that they didn't have, Evan Williams as a safety, Zach Tom on the offensive line, what impact will each guy make for the respective units?
Well, Williams is a big part of their run defense. They bring him down in the box a lot, and he's a very good tackler. So I think that's where they're hoping he can have an impact. Zach Tom is their best offensive lineman, but, he's going to have some rust on him. He hasn't played for 3 weeks, and he's got a back injury. And so I think they're just hoping that he gives them 80% of what he has, but he allows you to double elsewhere because he can handle a lot of guys one-on-one. So, they can slide away from him and let him handle someone. It's big, but, I think there are issues that are bigger, and mostly they're revolve around the defensive line they've got to find a way to stop the Bears from running the ball right up their gut. They just can't let that happen like they did against Baltimore. And then, it's going to be interesting to see how Trayvon Diggs plays and how much time they give him. He's kind of got a new lease on life, but that doesn't mean, we have to find out, is he the guy from Dallas or is he the guy from Dallas from 2021 and 2022? So that would be a big shot in their arm if he played well, but I don't know if they can count on that.
He's got to be better than Keyshawn Nixon. No offense to him, but he doesn't seem like he's a very good football player. And
he's not bad. He's a good player. It's the guy on the other side, Carrington Valentine, who doesn't tackle very well. He gets beat. He's kind of the Nashawn Wright of, he doesn't come up with the interceptions or strips, but when he's going to give up some stuff. You just know it. Nixon competes, and he's there. He's a good number 2 corner.
We'll let you go, Tom, and appreciate your time. Is there any way of knowing if Jordan Love is going to return as the guy that played in the first game when he was kind of red hot and you couldn't blitz him, or he threw a touchdown, versus the guy that maybe has some rust on him? I don't know. I mean, we've seen him play really well at times and mediocre at other times, depending on his health.
Yeah, no, there is no way to tell. Right. I think he is completely healthy. He's been practicing for 2 weeks, but once you get into this game, I don't know. I think where we'll find out early is, if Dennis Allen throws a few blitzes or plays some man coverage on them, how does he react? And if he reacts like he did in that first game, then they're in good shape. So that'll be the first thing to watch to see whether he's back, I think.
Great stuff, Tom. Really appreciate it. Hope you have fun in Chicago.
Thanks, Tom.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care now.